Right now, there are a number of companies who are developing the technology to allow people to, speak to video game NPCs as though they're real people. The whole chat GPT thing where you can have organic conversations with them and ask them questions and have them, you know what I'm talking about. I talked about how Ubisoft was developing such a technology in the big AI video that I did last year on the main channel. But now it seems that Sony is getting in on the action. A Sony executive took a little video of him interacting with an AI Aloy. Aloy, the character from the popular Horizon series. Apparently this was just taken with his phone of his computer screen. And this was not a video that was intended for the public. This has been leaked. This was for internal use only, and I don't know who it was for or what, but it just kind of showed him just kind of messing around with it. The video, I cannot find it anywhere. Sony has pretty aggressively tried to take it down wherever they could find it. From what I hear, it wasn't even the most, impressive tech demo. Apparently her voice just did not come in very well. It was very stilted and robotic, and the mouth had a hard time moving to the correct syllables and whatnot. Really, this was just a demo, just showcasing all. I mean, they've got the big list of the voice uses this and this uses that and this whisper technology, and it's just, I don't know. It's just to kind of play around with it, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be using this technology in the future. It could just be something that they're messing around with right now. They are working directly with Gorilla to develop this technology, which is another funny example of, an actual game developer working with the bigger company to try to create the tools that will replace human beings. Whatever the case, though, we'll talk more about that in a second. So the demo itself is apparently not super impressive. That is completely beside the point, though. It's easy to look at this stuff and be like, oh, look how terrible it is. That's why I don't want it in my games. But it's like, no, the problem isn't that I anticipate in the future we will be talking to NPCs in our games, and it's going to look terrible, and it's going to be poorly animated. They're going to sound like robots. No, the fear is that someday it won't be bad. The fear is that eventually we will be talking with Aloy in a Horizon game, and it will be perfect. And it'll be great. Yeah, apparently, the whole idea is that you can talk to the character and ask them, oh, where can I get this kind of item? You could just be, asking the game for its help. I can't really imagine a scenario where I would want to, pause a game and ask the main character specifically. That's a little weird. I don't know if that's something that they're planning on actually utilizing. It's got to at least be a little helper or something, not just Aloy herself. Hey, Aloy. Oh, what? She turns around, looks at the camera. Where can I get this piece of equipment? So anyway, yeah, it's really the fact that they are doing it at all. Whether or not any one piece of this is a guaranteed thing that they're going to pursue, it's just always uncomfortable to see that they are pursuing it at all. And this is a particularly funny case because right now, video game voice actors are on strike. They've been on strike for quite a while. I don't know all of the details, but I do know that a really, really big sticking point is that they want to be protected from literally this exact thing. They want to be protected from AI just, sucking up all of the lines they've ever recorded and creating an approximation of them that a company can then use to create voice work without paying the original actor and, potentially just replacing them completely. That is a very scary thing. Voice actors should be scared of that. Absolutely. And so it's just funny quote unquote funny that the industry has been tied up in this huge thing, this huge strike, and now this leaks. Now apparently behind the scenes, while the voice actors are striking, Sony is actively pursuing the very technology that is scaring them so much. And I mean, I can certainly see why Sony has been so aggressive in trying to take down every instance of the video possible. Because yeah, it's not a good look. It's really not a good look. And I can imagine that in the negotiations, they're gonna be pointing to this. You know, like, people are gonna be pointing to this. Hey, so how about the fact that, like, you are currently pursuing this? You are actively trying to develop an AI model that allows you to create an NPC and provide it with unlimited voice lines, and you never have to pay an actor for that NPC ever again. Because that's literally what this is. As always, I will remind you of my opinion, my assumption that all of this, no matter what, is always just to replace people. It's just to potentially save money. Okay, well, you know what? Okay, that's not necessarily true. I do think that in this whole AI arms race thing, there is this idea that companies just don't want to get left behind. And you can see that across all of the industries and everything, all the tech industries, all the AI stuff. It's that we can see the potential of AI, and that potential is so huge that I can see that no one company wants to be the one that didn't develop this stuff. I think overall, the point of generative AI is to replace people, and I think that that's how it's going to be used in most cases. But if you want to look at this particular case, try to look at it in a slightly more positive potential light. This could be a case where Sony is not necessarily looking to replace anybody, looking to, like, stop hiring voice actors or whatever. It could be that all of these other companies are busy developing this technology where people are able to just speak to video game characters more or less organically. And there is a chance, in their minds, I'm pretty doubtful, but there's a chance in their minds that whoever really implements this first is going to see a lot of success. It's going to be like the next big new thing in games. And I really am doubtful, because, like, having a conversation with a video game character, it's just, I've said it before, but, like, there's a novelty to it, and I could see certain video game experiences that could be kind of bolstered by it, any kind of game where there's a big story or a mystery or something like that, sure. But for the most part, it's just not something we need. If anything, it's just immersion breaking. There should be no point in a Horizon game where I am talking to... it's not necessary. It's a gimmick just kind of all by itself. But I'm just imagining that especially executives who, like, clearly don't actually play games, they don't actually know what people want, they're kind of just guessing. I could see them getting that idea in their head of, like, yeah, but, like, what if Ubisoft does it first? They're the first company to really utilize this technology in an actual, like, real AAA major release. There's an Assassin's Creed game where you can talk to the characters, and it ends up being a huge thing. So, like, and then what are we doing? We're stuck here with our simple, regular, old-fashioned NPCs, and suddenly no one's buying our games anymore, It's the kind of technology where if you want to use it, you got to be on the ball. You have to keep developing it. You can't just, especially, like, if other companies have their own, like, non-open source proprietary systems or whatever, then they're going to be using that. And if you want your own thing, you got to develop it yourself, and that can take years. So I don't know. All that to say, I can sort of see why they're doing it. It doesn't necessarily mean anything bad will come of it. It could just be they want to be on the cutting edge. They want to be in that arms race just in case. But you really cannot deny the badness of the timing. You cannot deny that this timing could not have been more poor. Again, if there is a case to be made that video game voice actors need to be protected from this kind of technology, then, like, this right here, this is going on the heap of evidence. This is much more fuel for the fire. And it's just, it's embarrassing that Sony has been caught secretly dabbling with this stuff. It's like in the very special episode of a TV show where the kid like sees their friend doing drugs with the other kids, and there's that moment where it's just like, I thought you were better than that, man. And even if Sony is like, no, we were just messing around. Like we're not like really gonna put this in a game. It's just like the damage is done. Like it's already out there. We know that you're doing this. And the actor behind Aloy, Ashley Birch, she put a whole video on Instagram, which was very, very brave. And I think it's terrific, you know, especially with all of this going on with the whole strike. I think it's really cool that she feels confident just plainly speaking out against this. She says that she was actually contacted by Guerrilla and they told her like this does not represent anything that we're like really working on and gonna produce and publish right now. But she was still correctly very, very worried about it. She has a bunch of great stuff to say. Go check out her video, just talking about how she's just scared for the art form, the very art form itself, just the concept of creating voice for video game characters. It really is under threat at the moment. And it is inevitable that someone's voice will essentially be stolen. Somebody will have their likeness given to an AI character, and a company will profit from that. And they won't. It's inevitable, and that's exactly why they are seeking all of these protections. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know all the details. I don't know where they're at with that, but I guess these companies are really not eager to give any real assurances. They're not eager to grant those protections because they don't want to. They want to use the AI. They want to use the AI to cut out the voice actors. That's what they want, obviously. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see where this goes. We'll see if Sony continues to dabble in this. We'll see if they give any sort of other response to the situation. Would kind of be good, you know. Again, if this is going to be used as evidence, maybe you should try to head this off. Maybe try to spin it. I mean, you know, you're a big company. You got to spin it. You can't just ignore it. At the same time, though, you absolutely can. You absolutely can. What I just said was purely wrong. If you're a big company and this kind of thing comes out, you can absolutely just ignore it and put your fingers in your ears and just hope it all goes away. It does not matter how badly you have embarrassed yourself or how little faith people have in you. Just stay the course.